Awesome. We are on. Happy Thursday, loves. If this is your first time checking out my Facebook Live, thank you so much for checking it out. My name is Dani LeBerry. I'm a virtual licensed psychotherapist and a happiness transformation coach. So I typically work with people who are feeling unfulfilled, overwhelmed, anxious, stressed out, maybe a little depressed or down. So each month I come out with 3 Facebook Lives following some sort of theme. So the month of February, the theme is self expression. And tonight's Facebook Live is on Time to Talk Day. Next week's Facebook Live is on Self Love Day, where I know with Valentine's coming up, people tend to feel like they have to be in a relationship in order to really express themselves in this month, and that is not the case. And we'll be talking more about that on that Facebook Live. And then the last Facebook Live for this month is Random Acts of Kindness Day, and that's on February 16th. So let's jump in to Time to Talk Day. Now, why would I be doing a Facebook Live on a time to talk? So, as things are going on right now, people are feeling isolated, people are feeling disconnected, people are feeling in a funk. Some people suffer from mental health issues, challenges, and it's not being talked about, whether it's because of embarrassment, shame, stigma. And Time to Talk Day came about as a sort of doorway or a sort of space to open up for conversation, to talk about some things, talk about mental health without there being any embarrassment or shame. So it gives that space of giving us permission to talk about these issues. It's also changing the narrative that people have around mental health. So, for example, I remember one time someone saying to me, "You don't look like someone who would have anxiety or depression. You don't look like someone." So, what does someone who has that look like, or someone who have those things, suffer from those issues, look like? So, it changes that narrative when we talk about this. And the last one of my last reasons why, or one of my big pointers as to why I wanted to do this Facebook Live, is it also helps people not feel so alone. A couple months ago, I did a Facebook Live on suicide prevention. And I think a common misconception with suicide is we don't talk about it, because if we talk about it, they might actually do it. And that is not the case at all. It's actually quite the contrary. We want to talk about it. We want to highlight it. We want to bring it out in the open, in the forefront of conversations, because that's what builds awareness, and that's how we get into what is the problem, what is the challenge. So that is my why as to some background or backstory into the whole Time to Talk. Where does that come from? What is she talking about? Why is she doing that? What's that? What's up with that? What's that about? So that's my why there. Okay, so now that we've gone into that, let's talk about some ways to open up these conversations, these awkward, uncomfortable conversations. So one of them is asking questions and listening. Some things I'll suggest are things like, what are you experiencing? How does that affect you? How are you feeling about that? What are your thoughts about that? What does that feel like for you? Asking questions that are open, asking questions that are non judgmental, and really listening to that person without cutting them off and without having them feel ashamed or embarrassed for how they feel or what's going on with them. My second suggestion is talking side by side rather than face to face. Sometimes, if we're suffering with mental health issues or challenges, it may be difficult to talk to somebody face to face. But say you're kind of sitting next to each other and maybe you're doing something together, or even doing things like walking. I know with coronavirus, everybody has different feelings about, spending time with each other. So if you're outside, social distancing, walking, in the same direction, if you want to wear masks, or if you have to wear masks. So that way you're able to have that conversation with that person without having, anyone feeling uncomfortable or that direct eye contact, because sometimes people want to be able to talk, but maybe not necessarily directly look at that person. So even talking side by side is a helper. My third tip, don't try to fix it. Sometimes people share things with us just so we listen, just so they have a space to vent. And I know that people may have a tendency to want to fix things or resolve things, I need to fix it. You sometimes don't need to fix it. Just be a space of listening. Kind of like what I was saying earlier, my first tip of asking questions and listening. So same thing with this, not trying to fix it. Just allow them to talk, ask questions and listen. My fourth one, treat the person the same as before they told you that they had any mental health issues or challenges. They don't want you to treat them any differently. Just because now you know that the person maybe suffers from depression or anxiety, bipolar disorder, or any other mental health issues or challenges, they don't want you to treat them any differently because now that you know that information. And my fifth one is be patient. Sometimes people aren't ready to talk about things, so feel free to still be able to support them without necessarily talking. I'm going to give you some examples. So doing things together, like I was saying earlier, without having to have those serious conversations, you can spend time with each other doing things together. Sending that person a text message, just letting them know that you're thinking of them, and offering to help them with day-to-day tasks. So I hope that this helps. As I always say, if you found this live to be helpful for you, please share it with family or friends. If anything came up for you while you were watching this live and you have any questions, you can feel free to send me a message here on Facebook, or you can email me. My email is Dani, Dani, at DaniLaberry.com. Thank you so much again for checking out my Facebook Live. Again, my name is Dani LaBerry. I'm a virtual licensed psychotherapist and a happiness transformation coach. Take care of yourself, and I will see you on the next Facebook Live next week. Have a great night.